Welcome back to the Who Cares A11Y Bar channel. Wow, I have just had some incredible conversations with people. Matter of fact, you hear one conversation that's happening in the background. That music. That's our good old friend Dave Hillebrandt. Thank you so much for joining us today to give me some music and strumming of that wonderful guitar and guitar playing that you do. And again, if you do want Dave to perhaps play at your venues or anything, please reach out to me on the comments, or in the comments rather. He would be more than happy to figure something out for you. And he's really well versed with his different styles. You know, maybe if I say, hey Dave, can you like flip that to reggae real quick? Let's see if that works. Let's see. Let's try that out. Okay, now we're going to try this reggae beat while I just come to you from Daytona Beach. Because you know what? I'm by the beach. And while I was at the beach the other day and looking through, you know, this virtual world that I live in, we take a deep breath and say, there's some interesting people out in this world, isn't there? And sometimes we put messages in the world to see, hey, is someone willing to help me? Because I'm stuck. How do I get unstuck with this situation? Hey, that's a quick line from Doc Rock and Mary Lou Mandel. But the stuck part was, I met a woman on the virtual journey here, and she mentioned, hey, anybody have some suggestions on microphones? My ears perked up. Sorry, they just perked up. I was like, wait, microphones? I like microphones. What microphone? I was like a puppy wagging its tail, and I actually just, want to introduce you to this wonderful woman. We got to talk just for a few moments before the show, so I really don't know much about her, but all I do know is her name is Lucy Greco, and she is from California. So welcome, Lucy.
Thank you, Harshit. I'm really glad to be here today.
Awesome. Well, Lucy, so, for the audience, could you just let me know what do you do? What kind of work are you into?
I'm an accessibility evangelist. I professionally teach people about digital accessibility, and that goes from web accessibility to mobile accessibility to what I call my heart project. Accessibility in the home. Everything about the home for the home should be accessible. And the more modern and digital we become, the less the home is accessible. So, I like to teach people, first of all, what might be accessible for them, but then I also want to help people who create technology make it in a more accessible way and more inclusive for everyone.
And one quick question: why did we didn't meet earlier? I mean, just kind of confused. I mean, why haven't we talked?
I mean, we've been on listservs together in the past, right. and I've seen you there, but
right. No, because what you're saying, it's a big, meaningful thing to say that it's so close to my heart. I agree with you 102,000%, because it just, every little piece matters, right? In our homes, we have lighting now that are smart. We are creators, both sides. I got to read your signature line that mentioned that you're also a creator. So yep. Could you tell me more about that, please?
Sure. So, I mean, I became a content creator specifically in 2019 because a bunch of my friends kept saying, you're such a great cook. Why don't you start
friends,
a cooking?
Aren't they cool like that? Why not, Lucy? Go ahead, Lucy.
Yeah, you can do it. You can do it. Like, talk about, but when it comes down to it, like, can you support me in some way? Can you help me, find the right camera or find the right, no, you can do this. You're good. I'm going to, so yeah, our friends, don't we just love them?
Yes.
So I started a cooking channel, and it's okay. It's popular. I mean, I have about, I think, 48 recipes on there. And the idea of it is it's tips and tricks for blind people. It's, it's not your normal cooking channel. I'm not going to do the same fancy thing that everybody else is doing. Mine's tips and tricks for blind people.
Well, I'm vegetarian. We're gonna have to talk a lot about these different avenues. You're just surprising me.
Yeah.
Every corner I turn, I'm like, wham, surprise. And
I mean, and the cooking channel goes from everything from, how do you feel the texture? Like, how do you
right,
tell when the onions are clarified? All these recipes talk about clarifying your onions. Well, I tell the blind people that you use your wooden spoon and
uh-huh,
move it around in the pan. And when you stop feeling those little pebbles hitting the spoon,
right,
that's the onions are softened enough.
right,
It's the little trips like that, and the smell of something, like when the smell changes to more of a caramel or something like that. So
absolutely.
that's the point of the cooking channel. And I do that, and it's fun, and I'm actually going to get back into that, but we'll get back to that in a couple minutes.
Sure.
But in 2021,
Mm-hmm.
I lost my temper on the internet, as I often do. I think you've seen me on listservs lose my temper before, but
You have to speak your mind, so don't always feel like, you're
exactly.
losing
Well,
tempers. I mean, I get it.
and I mean, I actually have in the digital accessibility community, I actually have a nickname that I either had to adopt it or stop being in that community because people loved the nickname and they keep using it. Just so you know, I am called the Punisher.
Uh-oh.
I'm called the Punisher. Yeah. Thanks, Dave. And it was given to me by a very dear friend that I do a lot of accessibility testing for him and his company.
Awesome.
But he knows a lot about accessibility, and I'm never, I don't hold back. And I don't hold
Right.
back from anybody, because if
Right.
you hold back when you're doing accessibility reviews, the only person you're hurting is the person you're reviewing, because
Yes.
you got to be honest, you got to tell the truth. But I do it politely, but he still says every time I've tested for him,
Punisher
he
is
feels
here.
punished. Yeah, he says he feels like he's been punished. And he actually did this event at his company where he had 3 teams compete, and I reviewed their products publicly in front of, so everybody gave me like the little widget they'd created, and I reviewed it in front of everybody else, and, gave them all like a ranking and a review as to who did the best job. And they were all equally about 60% only. So just, it was hard for me to make one better than the other.
Right.
But then he had a trophy he gave to them. And what he did was he had an artist design the trophy, but it designed the image mostly of, it has my face on it. Mm-hmm. And then the rest of it becomes a cartoon. Mm-hmm. And it's, a very skinny body and a white leotard, which I am not skinny. I am a very, very robust person. I'm not skinny,
Okay.
but a very skinny body and body in a white leotard,
Right.
with a purple cape flying out behind me.
Nice.
And I got one hand up in the air, the fist in the air gesture, and the other
Right.
hand is like cocked on my hip.
Right.
And it's got a Braille P on the chest, and that's the Punisher. And
Check you out. You already got a little cartoon and idols
Yeah.
made for you.
yeah, and so he made a trophy, and the team that after thinking very hard, the team I gave 2 points higher than everybody else got the trophy. So.
Right.
But then he also made stickers for everyone, and then he handed out a sticker to one of the leaders in our community.
Yes.
And the leader shared it on all the social media, and then everybody else said, "I want one of these." And so I am now officially
You have
the
to
Punisher.
embrace.
I had to embrace it, and
Yes.
it's great. I mean, people come up to me and like, "Can I get a sticker? Can I get a sticker?"
Well, if you
So-
want to throw me one, I'll throw one in the back. Hey, the Punisher was here.
I'll see what I can send you, but
Yeah.
and what I say to people is it's not necessarily the case, but it's if you've been to one of my talks or if I've worked with you in some way, you get a sticker. So,
Right. Well, you know what?
but I mean it's
Without-
fun. It's fun.
One thing,
Yeah.
without you giving me a sticker, I feel like I got the best sticker ever because you're here. Thank you so much for just being
you.
here, present.
Thank you.
Because I mean,
So-
it's like having that gold star, right? Because there's so many things to talk about accessibility or advocacy
Yeah.
work, and one thing that I'm underlining just from the brief 20 minutes that I spoke with you right before hitting the record button was that you and I are aligned on the same topics where it's not for me, it's for them. It's
Exactly. Yeah.
it's for them. Them could be, hey, it's for my manufacturer of, let's say, my interface. I'm using a solid state interface, and when they do right, I'm going to shout you out. So solid state logic, for example, I reached out to them and they mentioned they have plugins and stuff that are actually accessible. And that in its own just, it warmed my heart to, I didn't have to ask. You knew what I was talking about. And with that said, your question when we first had these listservs and things was regarded to your microphone setup. And, you know, there's different technologies we could use. There's different brands per se. I mean, I'm not brand agnostic, like stick to one brand. I'm about accessibility. So, you know, I love Apple for what they do because they do listen to accessibility feature feedback and they make implementations. Android
they've got a great team. I mean, they've got a really good team, and
it's
a
humans.
team full of disability full of people with disabilities. And it's human beings. I'm a little biased because they're my friends.
Yeah, but I'm still saying like between Apple and then like let's just now bring in Google into the into the picture as well. One thing that we don't understand clearly in modern day is we all are human beings and we all have feelings. And so when we say, oh, well, this company doesn't know that it's human driven. And, you know, with Android, for example, we were talking about how audio works with, let's say, your Android phone. But could you explain to the audience, what were some of these difficulties that you had with your setup?
Most definitely. So I've had to recently switch to using my cell phone to record, and we'll get to that in a minute as to why. But I wanted to use the higher quality lavalier mics that I bought for my setup with my phone, and as soon as I plugged in the receiver to the phone, which is like how I get the sound from my mouth to the device, I lost the screen reader. Completely lost the screen reader. And
which way did it go? Sorry.
Yeah, like there's no way to get sound. I could turn screen reader on or off and nothing. I could feel the haptic feedback, but I could not get the audio to play. And it's like, well, shit. And, you know, I in desperation reached for my earbuds, which I hate wearing earbuds. I hate wearing stuff in my ears, just so you know.
Okay.
Well, it's because I spent a lot of time in my teenage years as a telemarketer and wearing headsets, and so I get ear infections now a lot from wearing stuff in my ears.
Sorry, no pun intended.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I plugged my earbuds in and it's like, oh great, I got the screen reader back now. And it turns out that it's not that easy. I can't just plug the receiver in, even though I asked Gemini, I asked, my Echo, I asked everybody, how do you pair, the particular microphone I have? It's a DJI 2. And how do you pair it with a Pixel 9 Pro? And they said, you just plug it in and it works, and the camera app will pick it. No, that's not the case. You have to go 2 to 3 layers deep into the camera app's settings, and it's really tricky. And you have to find the setting. And I don't remember the pattern yet. I've done it about 10 times and I still don't remember where to go.
See, again, you did it again. You're thinking just like workflows. You've done start to finish, but if that workflow gets messed up, what do you do?
Exactly. So, and it was actually my husband who found it. I had given up. I'd completely given up. And he said, oh, I'll give it here. Let me fight with it. And he goes, oh, look, here it says use wired microphone. I'm like, where'd you see that? That's nowhere. Because, of course, I was looking through the interface when the microphone wasn't plugged in, because when the microphone's plugged in, it has to stick out at the, where I would normally put my hand to do my hand gestures. So he says, use wired microphone. I go, oh, for Christ's sakes. And then, he hands me back the phone after he's turned that on, and I'll be damned. It now says 4K video and wired microphone. It says that the wired it's like, that was never there before. What are you doing? And so I then unplugged the adapter and plugged it back in because I wanted to see if the setting stuck. Guess what? It doesn't stick. So it's like, you'd think that if a setting is set for a device to be plugged in, that
and now you're thinking like me probably is like, okay, let's cut the cake in half. Okay, the one slice is the camera, one slice is the microphone, the other slice is somebody else. Who did it?
Yeah, exactly. Who did? Where is it? Why is it not remembering that I want to use the wired mic when the wired mic is there?
Right.
And, to be perfectly honest too, sometimes when I plug the wired mic in, it doesn't connect. The only way I actually know that the wired mic did connect is
Your
that
buds.
the screen reader goes away.
Ah,
Because I can't have the earbuds plugged in before I plug, or the earbuds connected and paired before I plug the receiver in, or I still lose talkback.
and you know what? This is a great thing because you and I are both Android users for
Enthusiasts,
sure.
yes, yeah.
And again, being creators, and we're creating right now as we
Yep.
are. But
Yeah.
I'm using a RE20 going in through a wire. Basically, I'm wired up, and you're wireless technically right now. You sound
Yep.
great, by the way. And
Thank you. You do too.
thank you. And so, just that idea of how do we get into the mobile rig, or how do we get it, and some of this development, as we have learned, and as when we chatted, you mentioned a couple companies. We won't always have to mention names, but they're only Apple. Well, we never don't mind mentioning Apple, but it's only works on Apple, and not necessarily on the Android side.
Exactly. And I do want to talk about that for sure because, I got really excited earlier this year
Yes.
when I have found a gimbal. And a gimbal it's an old term that's been used in the video industry for years for
Not
something
related to
that,
Brian Gumbel or something, right?
no, not related to him at all. It's the device that videographers use to keep their camera from shaking in their hand and getting like a Blair Witch product video effect. So it's
Smooth
just
swoops and smooth motion.
yeah, exactly. It gets rid of the vibration from your hand. Like, even a person with Parkinson's can hold a camera on a gimbal,
Right.
and the camera won't shake. And that's the entire function of a gimbal. But someone had, sent a note saying, "Hey, I've seen this gimbal for an iPhone that, automatically tracks the subject. Like the gimbal turns the phone to face the subject." And I thought, oh yeah, I knew at that point I was about to retire and that I was going to go full time into my YouTube stuff.
Right.
I said, oh yeah, I don't have to depend on my husband anymore to come point the camera, and I don't have to.
Can we repeat that, please? Can we just underline what we just said?
Yeah,
You want to be independent.
Exactly. Right? I want to be able to create more than just on a Saturday and Sunday.
Because you don't want to do what again? You don't want to rely on your...
I don't want to rely on my husband or somebody else to come point the camera. Like, come on, it's...
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then,
the one time I tried pointing a camera without him, he came in and he goes, "It's pointing at the ceiling and not at your face." And it's like, okay, so point the camera, damn you, and let's get over. Yeah, but that's, and it's conflict too. I mean,
right.
It's also conflict in the, I don't need that in my marriage. I need to, we need to do things we love doing together, not things that I need to do.
No frustrations necessary. Exactly.
Exactly. So this friend of mine said, yeah, I've got one of these things, luckily. So I didn't have to buy it to find out, which is an important subject, but
right.
She gave me hers, and she says, you can keep this as long as you need it.
Right.
And it did say that it worked with Android as well, but it worked better with iOS. It worked a lot better with iOS. And that's because iOS has something that they call Dock Kit. And devices can actually tap into the Dock Kit API. Can I use the term API without defining it here? Okay, yeah.
If you want to define it, you can, but
yeah, it's a series of scripts and different bits of code that can tell people how to use something. So it's basically, it's the rule set for the iOS device that if you tap into this API with your device, which this gimbal tapped into, it will give the phone commands, and the device and the phone can talk, and speak the same language. So this gimbal would see where you are and turn the phone to follow you. And that, that's freaking cool.
Yeah.
On Android, it would do the same thing, but you had to use the app that came with it. And it had a little square on the screen, and it had the camera was on.
Right.
And what you had to do is you had to move the little square on the screen over the subject you wanted it to track. well, I'm sorry, I didn't see the frickin' square. I didn't see the subject in the screen. I couldn't do that. And I was like so bummed. I was completely pissed off and bummed.
And really what this takes me down the pathway is access technology in general. I mean, face and
Yeah.
face and view. I
Yeah.
remember a lot of when it first came out, giving a lot of feedback about it, and
Yeah.
because I've done so many of these episodes just to be on air. Maybe I might have not said a word, but I'm constantly being on air, and to ensure that we're good for our audience. One thing at least for our blind folks, just to kind of reiterate, it's not always about we don't have to turn on our camera. It's just people get to view and learn about us, and this is
we
why.
become we become human
Yeah.
for them. We're
Yeah.
not just a whining, sniveling blind person in the back. And I always try to be very positive too. But
Yes.
so I gave
Yes,
my
Miss
friend
Punisher.
back the
Sorry.
device. Yeah, I gave the device back to my friend. After I gave it back to her, I found out that it did support gestures.
Uh-huh.
And gestures not on the device, but you could give it a hand gesture from like 4 feet away.
Right.
And it would actually follow you then. And I'm like, damn it. But I didn't want to ask my friend back because she was already very generous. I mean, I had her device for
Right.
well over, 5 weeks before I gave up.
And to go ahead.
Yeah. So
And
I found out that there's hundreds of these things out there.
Yeah.
These AI trackers, there's hundreds of them out there. So I continued to research, and I found a new one.
Okay.
And the new one has 2 different models. It has a cell phone only model.
Yep.
And then it has an everything model that is, camera, cell phone. You can put either on there. Mount it.
Basically, what you're saying is multi-mountable devices rather than only cell phone
Exactly.
mounting.
Yeah, and the reason that's important is that the other one, it was called the Insta360 Flow 2 Pro.
Yep.
The other one required the phone camera. It actually used the phone camera to track you. It didn't have its own little camera.
Right.
This one has its own little camera
Okay.
that it does the tracking with, and it's all gesture based.
Okay.
Like there's no other way to do it. You just give it gestures and it works.
Right.
And I said, oh, this is going to work. I'm going to make this work. And so I called the company. I think I called them 6 times. They always answered the phone. They
Awesome.
were really good.
That's
They
good,
gave
great
me
positivity.
really good verbal, interactions with them on the
Yes.
phone. And I finally said to them, I'm interested in trying this, but I'm blind. I don't know how it's going to work with this and this. And the guy goes, instead of buying it from us, he said, go to Amazon, buy it, and use the 30-day return. We don't care if you use the 30-day return if it doesn't work.
Right.
And that's good business, because I instantly said, I like this company. And, so I bought it, and it was down to the very last day of my 30-day trial. I was like, I
Bye-bye.
might send this thing back. I might send it back. And I sat down with a neighbor, and I said, here's the, I need you to tell me, when does the little green light turn on?
Right.
And that 25 minutes with my neighbor, sitting down and her telling me, okay, it's on, it's off, it's on. I figured it out. And so I kept the device.
You
and
had to
now,
dance with it, so to speak.
Yeah, I had to dance with it. I've now recorded 2 videos with it. I'm pretty happy.
Awesome.
I've had a friend of mine who's a real video nerd look at it. I'm still working on that audio because these microphones are still a pain in the ass, but but yeah. I need to kind of explain and go back a little bit and talk more about,
Yes, please.
that episode of rage on the internet, because it's important.
Sure.
It's
Yes, please.
why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Okay, go ahead.
What had happened was, it was January 2021.
Okay.
And we all know that, it was the second surge of COVID then.
Yeah.
We were all at home, and, we didn't even have our cleaning lady coming anymore because, we didn't want to get her sick. We paid her. Just to be clear, I continued to pay her weekly salary because
That's
it wasn't her fault.
Hey, by the way, so blind people could also have cleaning people and all this stuff too?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, you see?
Yeah.
People, I mean,
Yeah.
anyone could have anything you want, but it's go out and do and go get it in a way. I
Exactly.
guess. But continue on,
Exactly.
please. Sorry.
Yeah, so we didn't have, so we would, wait the longest possible, periods in between when we were going to need to do laundry. So it was, there was always huge loads of laundry. It was basically, we have 1 day's worth of clothes left. It's time to do laundry, because that's the way we were. And so we loaded up the machine with the first load, and the washing machine broke 10 minutes into the 90-minute cycle.
Ouch.
And it was, we bought this washing machine in 2003, maybe. It was near the end of its life.
Yeah, good 15, 20 years out of it.
Yeah, we had repaired it 4 times. It was not going to be repaired again. There's just no way. So I'm sitting here with, a large load of soaking wet clothes and no washing machine to wash them. And so we quickly went online and we, reviewed as much as we could, data and information. And we saw that LG had a washing machine that had an app, and it used the same app that I was using for my air conditioner. So I said, well, the app works okay.
It should be fine.
It should be fine. And I get this thing home. We get it delivered 3 days later. Yes, the clothes were still sitting there soaking wet 3 days later. And, guy shows up, and it's all, the installer guy, connected it to the Wi-Fi. I'm ready to go. Like, pulled up, put the laundry in, put all the stuff in that needed to be in there, and went to the app, and it's, I set the cycle and hit the start, and
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. No, sorry.
Oh, it was so much worse than that. It said, for your own protection, you must hold the wireless connect button in for 3 seconds before you can use remote start on this unit.
Every time?
Every time.
What?
And where the fuck is that button? Sorry about the language. Where is this wireless? And my husband even couldn't find it right away. Like, he couldn't. Like, it took him a good 2 minutes to figure out what they meant by the wireless connect button.
Right.
And it's in the middle of this big, wide, flat surface with 15 buttons all around it. And as I'm putting that my hand,
that one.
Exactly. As I'm putting my hand, trying to find this button.
Yes.
I'm pushing all the other buttons and turning off, I had turned on hot water, I turned on cold water, I turned on, it's like, so I went on Twitter, because in those days we used Twitter. Can I just say I miss Twitter? I miss it so much.
Because people listened. I mean, brands actually, that was your tech support.
Yeah, exactly. I went on Twitter and I said, according to LG, I am a dangerous person.
Punisher.
because I cannot, and I copied the text from the app, and I said, so I can't even operate my own washing machine. Thanks, LG, And then one of the local agencies here was going through its wealth stage. We won't talk about that, but they were giving out these grants every year. And they'd give out 3 grants to somebody who wanted to do a project that would benefit blind people, or would highlight the highlight the the importance of blindness and how people. So I said, I'm going to do a project where I review home appliances for accessibility, and I'm going to do videos on YouTube for it. And part of the grant was that you had to do a 90-second pitch video, just to show that you could, and just give your elevator pitch about why you wanted this grant. So I set up with my camera. My husband pointed.
So was it a more video driven centric, or
the project could be anything you wanted, but this is how they had people submitting apps or project ideas internationally. Like, people from around the world submitted a project that there was over, for each year that they ran it, I think they had close to like 80 people submitting, and like from Africa, from Asia, it was all over the world. So that's how they got the pitches. And what they said is, the video with the most likes, the top, I think 20 videos with the most likes on YouTube, they would bring in for round 2, round 3.
So basically, the creator discretionary was on the creative discretionary was on you. If you made it more audio driven because you're totally blind, or By the way, I didn't quite ask if it's okay to ask. Are you partially
I am.
sighted?
I am totally blind.
Totally
I am
blind.
totally
Okay.
blind, and you know, I've been totally blind my whole life. I'm a dog user. I've
Okay.
had 7 guide dogs now. I'm on dog number 7. So,
Okay.
but so I'm standing there in my video. I'm standing there next to the machine, and I like just bring my hand over to the flat panel, and I say, "Look what happens. I can't figure this out. See what happens when I spin the dial." And you know, that was my 90-second pitch video,
Right.
and somebody posted it to Reddit video, our video,
Here V.
and
Here I.
yeah, and I got what they called in those days the GameStop effect. Redditors brought me way over the top, and within a month, I got 189,000 views of the video, and I think it's like,
And it's only 90 seconds long.
and it's only 90 seconds long, and the comments were insane. Like, the comments were just crazy.
Right.
You know, and they were all positive about me and very negative to LG. And you know, long story short, I did not get the grant. I only made it to round 2. I was able to actually do the written pitch. I didn't make it to round 3, and I didn't get the grant. But 189,000 people watching this video and making comments like, "This
Right.
is really important, and
One step at a
designers
time.
need to know this stuff."
Yeah.
I said, I kind of got to do this anyways. And,
Right.
you know, there's a suspicion from me and a bunch of my friends that the agency that was hosting hosting this grant knew that I would do it anyways, because they knew me. I was not an unknown entity like most of the people who are putting in grants.
Right.
You know,
You're loud and proud, and you're proud
yeah,
of it.
exactly. Yes. So they figured. I think they figured I was going to do it anyway. So they didn't give me the grant. But I mean,
Okay.
the grant would have helped a lot, because
Yes.
I was
Cost
going
of
to
all
use that
goodies,
yeah.
cameras, audio, all of that.
Exactly. I was going to use the grant to, you know, actually professionally hire somebody to do the website, buy the camera, and you know, buy the first 4 appliances to review.
Right.
But no, I didn't get the grant, but I started doing it anyways. And it's been going really slow since 2021. I have done 11 reviews to date. There are 11 videos on the channel, or products. The
But you know
LG
what?
washing, the LG washing machine has multiple videos because, you know, when people were that excited about it, I realized the 90-second video wasn't enough. So I published a 15-minute video
Right.
showing more about how inaccessible it was.
Right.
And that one got 30,000 views in a week.
There you go.
It didn't do as well as the 90, but yeah.
You know what? Pardon me real quick. I forgot to do something. What's your channel called?
It's just under Lucy Greco's, the whole channel title is Lucy Greco's Cooking and Know Before You Buy. Because I keep my cooking videos on there.
For a quick spelling, so Lucy Y. Okay.
Lucy, and then Greco.
Okay.
My channel hashtag is my domain. I've had my own vanity domain since the 90s. Yes, I'm that nerdy.
Hey, I like it. I like it.
My vanity domain is Access Aces. So the word access.
You know, when I read that, I was like, wait, is this woman a pilot? Like, I don't know. I'm just sorry. I was like,
No,
that's
you're
a
absolutely
badass
right.
username. I'm like, maybe she's a fighter pilot. You know, just fighting all the battles for us because you people can't get accessibility stuff straight. Sorry.
Exactly.
Calm down.
yeah.
Get off the ledge. Get off the ledge. Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah. But it's Access Aces, so it's ACCESSACES, and that is
ACES. Okay.
So it's remove one of the C's, remove one of the S's.
So
Access
if they
Aces.
typed @Access Aces, they could find you on YouTube quickly.
They should be able to find me. Yep. But
And
I
then-
also have a website, and all my YouTube videos are on my website. It's accessaces.com. You know, it's me. I'm you know.
Yep.
So I've got my videos on there. I've done 11 product reviews. There's one, don't touch this with a 10-foot pole, but the rest of them are things that I've actually bought and actually liked.
What do I have to go watch it? Are you going to be one of those people?
No.
What is don't touch it with a pole one? What is that about?
It is a portable induction burner. We wanted something that we could use outside on the deck to like heat
Yeah.
up the corn while we're having a barbecue and stuff
Yeah.
like that. it's a cheap $60 induction burner, but it is completely, there's no way in hell a blind person could use this thing.
We could have some jambalaya. The other day, Dave was playing jambalaya and all these songs from New Orleans, and it's like, man, it takes you to that place of when you're. And the thing with accessibility, again, to mention, we're not trying to shame these brands at all. I mean,
No.
LG has accessibility in their TV game really well, but it's just appliances.
Yeah.
It's the light bulbs. It's how do you connect a GE light bulb, a Philips light bulb.
Exactly, yeah. And just so you know, LG fixed the problem. They did fix the problem.
We're not here to shame brands or anything.
No, we're here to actually say that they did a good thing.
Yes.
Because, since the thing went viral, it actually had 2 Korean articles about it. I was on several podcasts.
Well, congratulations on that. That is so awesome.
LG reached out to me and we talked, and then 2 months later they said, okay, we've fixed this now. And I said, okay. And I said, yeah, that's much better. And they actually sent a technician to my house and he put Braille templates on the washing machine for me. Like, they're not going to do that for everyone. And that is a problem, is that they aren't going to do it for everyone, and they don't have the Braille templates for everyone yet.
Right.
But the fact that they created a Braille template just for me, not good, for everybody else would be good.
Right.
But they actually made it so that you don't have to hold that damn button down.
And you know what, Lucy, though, there's other pieces of this. So, like, there's so many maker places, and there's so many people that are willing to learn. So to have a 3D template, or any kind of markers, that adhesive that could go on your microwave, to go on your washer dryers, any appliances for that matter. I mean, you have all these air fryers and such that now.
Exactly.
I think it's just important to have that conversation. And again, I don't think Lucy was being super mean to them and punishing them because they needed it. It's more so, hey, I'm trying to do my family's laundry. I'm trying to accomplish getting a meal cooked for my family that, we're all at work, and I want to make my favorite casserole dish or something. Or
exactly. Like, I want to be able to walk into the kitchen and put something in the Instapot.
Yep.
And have dinner ready by the time my husband gets home, or have it ready for both of us when we get home. It's just
and to give in, you just mentioned that brand. They did really well during the pandemic era, where it's both on Apple and Android that they're accessible with the app. So
exactly, I call it usable. Just so you know, in my book,
I mean, I don't own
usable,
one, but
only because the one I have now. If I didn't have the app, I couldn't use it. And that's why I call it usable, not accessible.
You mentioned the word evangelism, but what does universal design mean to you then?
Universal design means that everyone can access it equally. It's universal.
So do you think that we need to work more into that direction, or?
Oh, yes. Oh, absolutely. Because, for example, when that technician showed up to put the Braille templates on the machine.
Yes.
He was like, I was talking to him about it, what we were doing and why I was doing it. And he was like, this is a great idea. And he goes, I go to people's houses and they have these machines in the garage, usually. And in the garage, it's usually a dark place and the lighting is terrible. And you can't see the characters on the screen, and you can't see the buttons because it's too dark in the room because it's not high enough. That's universal design, like making a bigger font that's easy to see for everyone, making it high contrast, making it so I could find those buttons. That would be universal design.
Yes.
And the one cool thing LG did is that when you use their app now as a blind person, you can go over to the machine.
Okay.
And as you make settings changes, your screen reader on your phone, be it TalkBack or be it VoiceOver, will speak what that change you just made is.
So it's keeping up. You're physically, tactily touching the unit, but your feedback is coming from your phone now.
Exactly. And so they still need to fix the Braille template idea, because you need to know where to actually find those.
I think LG keeps hearing us, because I keep hearing your LG music now in the background.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
You get excited. I'm doing it.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, it's but if a blind person could get somebody to help them quickly, put a tactile marker on the 2 or 3 buttons they need, and then the app will tell them what their settings are, and it's nice.
Yes.
You know, it's pretty damn nice. And they've also eliminated that hold the button in for 3 seconds thing.
Right.
You know.
I mean, you know, it was sad. We're
Yeah.
cell phone nerds too, as we mentioned with Android. But when LG went out, I mean, they had a quad DAC on their phone. I mean, they made some good equipment.
They've made some really good stuff.
It was just tough when, I mean, it's hard now because, as I always tell people, even when you're choosing cell phones, this, that, other, Motorola is still around as a brand, but it's not as significant. And it's the companies like Samsung that is putting the effort to try to make accessible things. LG trying to be more accessible. Apple, Google, and Amazon stuff. So it's like, one thing to note is, you know, the companies are trying, but it's our advocacy work or evangelism, as Lucy's word for that specifically. But they're all interchangeable.
Exactly.
We're doing the same kind of awareness. I mean, like I said, we talked yesterday, and today we are here. I really didn't know you, but it's such a pleasure to meet you and know you now, because now I have like 1,000 questions, because it's like, hey, how can I help you here? Hey, how can I help Lucy? And you know, that's I don't think about me. It's like, how can I help her? And
exactly.
them.
And it's not always about me, because you know, ultimately, and I say this in a couple of my most recent blog posts, is a lot of my blind friends say, you know, of course you don't like using Ira because you have a husband. And it's like, I have a husband, but you know, I have moral reasons I don't like using these other tools. But it's, you know, I do this work for the person who doesn't have the husband. For, you know, the mother of an 8-year-old boy who couldn't get her thermostat working, and her landlord wouldn't give her an accessible thermostat. Yeah. You know, that's
you know,
who
speaking
I
of thermostats, my thermostat fell off the Wi-Fi, and oh my Lord. It's a Learning 3 one, so I'm scared to go play with it now, because I think I'm stirring the fire.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, I do have a blog post all about that too. You know, the fact that as soon as
what is your blog post,
updates,
if you want to mention real quick?
I mean, that blog post is all on my website, but the blog post is, you know, when it's considered a nice thing for some people, it becomes a necessity for us. Like if our thermostats aren't on our Wi-Fi, what do we do when it goes to these really hot weather that we've been having in the U.S. this past
summer? And again,
summer?
Going back to universal design, that universal design language, as UDL as it's known as, or
exactly.
I think I've got it correct, but UDL in its own. Recently with the Apple Watch, for example, they did the clasp watch so you could answer the call like that, but it was for another disabled group of people. But
everybody uses it,
Everybody uses it. And like my friend last week, or last episode, Martin E. Regan, he was on here, and he has muscular dystrophy, but he is able to use the trackpad to at least get to where he needs to be. And we speaking of audio, being audio nerds and stuff, the company Shure, you know, maybe it's worth talking to Shure about this stuff, or because I got to meet a couple of people there at Shure, but something that I know for damn sure that it's going to connect. And I have reliability, because again, when you're in this convention thing, you don't want 2.4 gigahertz and then everybody's stepping on you. You want to be able to do the same presentation, because this is what we're doing. We're presenting an idea, a thing, a place, a person. And
exactly.
I think, you know, with the advocacy and evangelism that you've done so far, I'm so happy to finally have spoken to you, but it doesn't end. And what are probably some things for you in the future that you're thinking that you're going to go work towards first in the very next future, so to speak?
I mean, I'd really love to get in with a couple of design teams. My personal
give me an
goal
example
right
of what
now,
does that mean by design team, like which level of industry?
Talk to a company that's about to design a new interface, and work with them from day one. I still have contacts at my old job. I used to work at the University of California, and I still have contacts there. And I go in to some of the School of Design and the School of Information classes, and I talk to students there.
Yes.
And this is a part of my life that I'm the most proud of, because every time I've talked to those classes, students have graduated from that program and gone specifically into accessibility, not ever knowing anything about it before I talk to them. And
You know, it's so funny. I always tell every kid I meet, like, hey, you should consider accessibility. You get paid a lot. I'm the blind dude, but trust me, you're a sighted person. You don't have to work as hard as I need to. You'll get paid a lot. Like,
well, and it's there's not enough people knowing about it.
yeah.
There's a great
WAS, Web Accessibility Specialist. I think, like, if you really have your certification, that's almost a $400,000 job right there.
Well, and it's, there are jobs, whereas there's not other jobs as software designers right now, because the industry is hurting. But accessibility, I think we're in serious trouble in the US for accessibility, but the European Union, now that there is a European Accessibility Act and it's now in place, there are going to be penalties for not being accessible.
Right.
And companies are scared of those. And so they're hiring people to do accessibility work.
But
not just the European countries, because, we think of the US as being this one place, and, England is another place, and Europe, we're not different anymore.
But what I really feel, Lucy, is there's a lot of butterfly effect happening, and I'm in my late 30s, so I'm speaking maybe, but from my observations from a young kid, I was born in Africa for one thing, but to see that butterfly effect eventually happen, and to look at like Hollywood and film. Before, you had film come out here, then it would go to China, Japan, Asia markets. Now it comes out here, it comes out there. There's no delay in something like that. So when I'm looking at like audio description, for example, UK, Australia, all of them, they've been doing it for ages. Canada, they're compulsory have to have audio description on the 3 channels that they have up there for whatever reason. So I get people are a little afraid of where we are headed, with what's on the table. But I think advocacy work like yourself, or evangelism work as you're doing, and I'm constantly trying to do, I think we're making changes. But continue.
We are. I think we are. I am glad we have the European Accessibility Act to point to.
Yes.
Because we don't have anything here. Because people want you to point to something. Because
example, lead by example, right?
Exactly. But I always say that it's not the right reason to do things. It's not legal compliance is not going to get us accessibility. Because after all, you and I both know.
What about common sense?
Yeah. You and I both know that there are products that are technically in compliance that are pieces of garbage. There are products that technically follow the W3C spec, for example, for the web.
Right.
But they're useless because, yes, they have alt text for all the graphics. It's alt text.
It's, to me, it builds a overall better encompassing product, service, or anything else.
And by talking to people like you and me, and talking to other people with disabilities, is the way companies can get accessibility. And hey,
for sure.
Let's be completely honest here. We have a very intelligent community of people who are unemployed because
me. Oh, sorry. What you want to ask?
But people, people are scared to hire us because they don't know how we'll do the job.
Yeah.
But, we are the most highly underemployed community in the world. Get us some jobs. Bring us into your teams. Have us work with you.
So 2017, I went back to college, and maybe I'm going to come jump on your show too. So I'm giving you anytime you're free. Maybe next week or something. We'll definitely talk about it. But with all of that learning bit, I feel like I wasted my time, because it's like, wait, I went to college. I went to get master's or management supervision. I've done IT. My brain thinks in different facets. It's critical thinking. And then since 2019, my local establishments are like, hey, you want to hire me? Hey. And then I even heard recently, like, oh, they got a creator program. Well, do I not get a job in this? Maybe I don't. Maybe I've done something wrong in my community. I don't know what specifically.
Exactly. And they're scared because they don't know, even though, according to the world statistics, 25% of the world population has a disability. people can go their entire life without meeting a person with a disability, and they don't know how to act, and they don't know what's appropriate. You know, we've all had this thing where the sighted person comes up and, you know, you're having a great conversation, and all of a sudden when you're saying goodbye, they all of a sudden, you know, get a jerk reaction against see you later. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't. You can say see you later.
I freaked out a doctor like that. I know exactly. My mom was in the hospital, and it's 7 o'clock in the morning. And he's checking the vitals, and I just go up, and I'm literally looking at him, talking. Then I whip out the cane out of the sleeve. Oh my God! But if you gave me the right information, I asked you the right questions. You gave me exactly what I was looking for. Why are you afraid of, or what are you afraid of? And
exactly.
He finally understood where I was coming from. Like, wow, you're smart. That's maybe. I mean, that's about the other person calling you out for whatever. But exactly.
Microsoft said it best that when you have a team that has a person who is deaf on that team, and you're building a video player, that team is not going to forget captions on that video player. But if you don't have a person who's deaf in the audience, there's a requirement to have captions in the video player. But it's just another check, and people don't like doing those checks. But, you know, you're not going to go to lunch with Mary, and Mary, you know, picked up the bill for lunch that day because she was so happy you went out for lunch. And then you go back to the office. You're not going to make it so Mary can't use the tool you're developing.
Exactly.
And have us on your team. And we have good ideas. We have sucky ideas too. I'm not going to be, you know, I'm not all starlight sunshines. Well,
universal and usability, all of those kind of words
and
are introverse into a better product.
Yeah, it's like the old, you know, when they first came out with those automatic faucets in bathrooms.
Right. Oh, man.
It was a bunch of white guys doing it, so a black person's hands didn't set it off.
Right.
It's like, come on. You have a black person on the team, and that black person puts his hands underneath. It's not going to go to market that way.
Right.
Diversity of all kinds, diversity of everyone on your team, in your environment, really makes for better products. The products are usable by everyone, and you know,
and it's a continental thing.
And why would you want to give up 25% of the world market?
Yeah, because as you said, the world market is a continental problem thing, because these same phones and products are being used in India, Japan, Australia, South Africa, you know, UK, Canada. It just the idea of involve your community. I think that's what I've always been advocating, is even us as our accessible community as we are, let's not knock each other, because I'm not intimidated by you and your channel and your viral video. I want to actually put it and present it to other people. Like, look, Lucy has done this. Look,
we can work together, and together we can impact
not more.
Not twice the same number of people as we're impacting. We can become, but we can use that damn algorithm that YouTube uses.
The audience. It's called the audience.
Exactly. And as if our audiences, you know, merge, yours and mine, they'll add more people to our audience, because obviously this is something people want to hear about.
And agreed.
Yeah.
Yes.
And to go back to the market share thing, you know, last year, Microsoft released a really cool accessible game on Xbox.
Mortal Kombat?
And no, that was Sony. But yes,
Mortal
Kombat would fall under the same category.
Yeah.
But I went out and bought an Xbox just for this one game. And it's a driving game. So I bought a steering wheel, and I bought a gear shifter, and I bought pedals. And I can't actuly
Hey, watch out for the Punisher. Anybody want to 20 or nothing? 20 or not? Sorry, we shouldn't be betting on here.
for a $40 game, I spent $1,000.
Right. And are you playing Flight Simulator 2 while you're at it?
I have played with some Flight Simulators, but I mean, you know, it turns out I can't actually play as well when I use the steering wheel as I do with a controller. So, you know, this $200 steering wheel I bought is actually but it's still, and that's just me, because I can't drive.
Right.
But I have actually beaten the computer at this racing game.
Wow. Okay.
And it's cool and it's fun. And, I've always wanted to drive a car, so now I can drive a car with an Xbox controller in my hand.
Thank you for painting that picture because, like I said, we all like to do different things. I live by the NASCAR track here in Daytona Beach. So having that love of listening to the cars, listening to the Rolex races, to the Monterey right now in California has their car show with all the Porsches and all the amazing cool cars. But if we could spend a little money here and there, we could put a little money into the system of accessibility, and trust me, you'll churn out way more of a bottom line. I promise you.
Well, I mean, if you ever get a chance, Forza Motorsport 8 is awesome. I mean, I
wanted
so
both systems. It's like when I heard Mortal Kombat. I mean, those are some of the games I grew up with as a kid, and when I had some partial sight. Yeah. But we'll leave that to more conversation on your channel, because this is getting to be too much fun with so many tools, so many things, and I'm like a little giddy puppy right now.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Is when we get this accessible stuff, we are giddy puppies, and
Yes.
I wasn't the only one to buy that system when that came out. Other blind people went out and bought the same thing. In fact, a friend of mine came over, tried mine, and went home and spent his $1,000 too. So accessibility.
Can we say influencer?
Yes, exactly, exactly. I mean, it's pretty damn cool, and
always for me, I think though, is like it's the funding piece that always, like right now I told you I didn't have a job. Yeah. So, but this microphone that I'm using, it's Electro Voice RE20. I mean, they're pricey, close to $500 ish, $450. But point being is, people gave me the thought to say, hey, why don't you try something? Because you were interested, you have enthusiasm about it. And companies, when I went to conventions like Infocom here in Orlando this year, it was the same principle, and it was, hey, I'm blind, but I love you. And they're like, you're so enthusiastic about it. Well, of course. I'm a human being. I'm liking your marketing, because at the end it is marketing. But when I could find a way to use something, to do something, it makes the world of difference. Doing your laundry, getting your food cooked, having the lights on when they're on and off in your house. All of these elements that we talked about today, I mean, they're really important pieces. And for my people, the audience out there, I always make videos that relate to different stories. And it's not always about me or the blindness. It's about how we as human kindness give out kindness. So
exactly.
Thank you again, Lucy, so much for your time this afternoon. And,
my pleasure.
I look definitely forward to coming onto your show, and I will definitely post the links in the description. And again, if you want to hire Dave Hillebrandt, it's HILLEBRANDT. He will definitely be interested in helping you with music like this. I think it helps to highlight my own friends. Dave also is a ham radio operator. He is also blind, but why not have our blind friends show their skills off? He has it hooked up to an interface. He has a guitar. He's playing live. You have your wireless setup. We've showcased so much today, and hopefully people get to pick and choose what they really want. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, it's not about the brand. It's about accessibility or evangelism.
But everyone. Yeah, it's what everybody needs.
Everybody, yes.
You can always be sure that if a product is loved by all, it's accessible.
Yes.
If it's a product that everybody finds a little hard to use, it's not accessible.
And everybody might not want to use it. You'll have a harder time penetrating to your market of capacity. So,
exactly.
I'm so excited to come onto your channel, because I could keep on going, but I want to keep this at least for this minute here that we are. Again, thank you, Lucy, so much for your time. It was such a pleasure to talk and learn. Of course.
I loved it. Thank you.
If there's anything else I could do for you on your channel, please, we'll stay in touch. And for everybody out there, please do go follow Lucy at Access Aces, ACCESS. And again, this is Miss Lucy Greco from the California area, and you have joined us here on the Blind Accessible Resource channel because, well, it's the Who Cares. Well, I care. Lucy cares. And we all care about accessibility because A11Y stands for accessibility. So till the next time, thank you so much. We'll catch you soon.